Hey folks, I've got this 93 bounder motorhome here with, it had a power steering problem. It would whine when, as soon as you put it into gear. As long as it was in park, it would be fine. Took it to 3 shops and spent about $3,000 and nobody could figure out what was wrong with it. So I got the manual out from GM on this P30 chassis, and it has the park brake actuator system on it, and so there's a lot of things that could potentially need to be adjusted with the park brake shoes and the adjustment on the actuator. There's also an issue with the linkage that required a upgrade bracket on the linkage coming off the steering column. Checked all that stuff out, everything checked out, still couldn't get it to stop whining when I put it in gear, and it wouldn't turn. And so I finally figured out right here, this is the reservoir container, and it says right on it, it says do not overfill, and there's a mark on there. Let me see if I can get to that mark. That's the mark. Let's see if I can get it where it says what it says on there. It says do not overfill. There is something around the operating range, and then it says right at the top, do not overfill. So you got about an extra 1.5 inches of fluid there that you need in order to fill the system. And so you have to actually, and this has actually come down now because it's you know, gotten all the air bubbles out of it and everything by now, but you have to fill that reservoir up almost to the tippy top, and then it will not whine. I'm not saying that you might not have a problem somewhere else in your system, but if you're exhausting all your other possibilities, that's a good thing to try, because it worked for me, and I've been driving this thing now for about a year, and it doesn't whine anymore. And it just needs that extra fluid, because as soon as you put it in drive, or as soon as you put it into a gear, it drains this reservoir down and fills the system up with all this power steering fluid. And if it gets all the way to the bottom and it still has more area that it has to fill in the system, then you end up with air down here in the lines, and that air is what makes it whine. And so you've got to get as much fluid in this thing as you can without spilling it. And then that'll, when it drains, when you put it in drive, and when it fills up the system by using up this fluid, it won't get to the bottom. You can't let this reservoir get used up, or because then when you put it back in park, it fills it back up. And that's why they don't want you to overfill it, because they don't want this thing to come bubbling out of here, or, you know, overflowing, not bubbling, but it shouldn't have any air in it. So you have to fill this up all the way, though, so that it can actually have enough volume to fill up the system. Been driving it for a year now. It's been working great. So hopefully this helps somebody out, because I see a lot of posts online about power steering problems where they whine. And that could be your problem right there. So give it a shot.